gets you connected to your community. We're your local station to keep you informed. Welcome to Energy 95.3's Community Connection.
And welcome back to Condors Connection. It's a little different look today. Normally it's just me and Holty with our split screen, but we got a tri-screen today, as we also have a special guest with us today, Brad Malone. How are you doing today, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being a part of the broadcast today. If you do have any questions on YouTube or Facebook, you can easily put those into the chat there. We have the chat window over here too. So if you have any questions, feel free to put those in. Holty, let's talk a little bit. Obviously, this past weekend, we had preseason games, which didn't know if we were going to have them, but we did have them. And you guys did a little road trip. What was that like, and how was that adventure? And Brad, feel free to jump in too.
A little bit of a different look, and Brad played in the game, so I'll let him chime in too. But down to El Segundo, where Ontario is going to play this year. So they're playing at the Kings practice facility. And then on Sunday, we had an empty Mechanics Bank Arena for a game against San Diego, and definitely a different feel, not having, a couple thousand in the building every night, and certainly a different feel on the broadcast. But, it'll be something we get through, and, maybe a little different for Brad on the ice, I think, than having a couple of thousand in the stands cheering him or booing him at the same time. So it's Bugsy, what'd you think about kind of the two games over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the first one was reminded me of midget hockey, to be honest. Just a regular practice rink. There's a couple of kids' parents in the stands, and that was it. It was weird. The ice quality was great. I thought it was a cleaner game just because of the colder facility. And then coming back here, it was good to get back into the routine here. But like Holty said, empty barn is different. Like I could hear Mike talking through the commentating over the penalties and the goals, but I could actually just hear him talking almost in the echo. It was
wow. And we were talking about the facility down in El Segundo. I've been there a few times myself, and it definitely is a little different because the ceilings aren't quite as high as Mechanics Bank. And Holty, I saw the little comment you made in your social post, which you actually had a clearing attempt hit the ceiling, which I don't think you've ever experienced that until maybe midget hockey you did, or
that tin roof's pretty low. So I mean, I guess it's not a penalty, so we're probably gonna have to take advantage of that if we ever get into a situation. We'll have to use that to our advantage going forward.
I was going to say we might need the ground rules like at Tropicana Field in Tampa, and if it hits the wrong stanchion, it's an icing or offside or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, definitely a different feel. Like Brad said, it's it's a nice facility, but at the end of the day, I'm sitting in the bleachers, and there's 3 rows of bleachers, and I'm as close to the action as I've ever been. So it's going to be definitely a different feel.
That's crazy. Now, Brad, let's talk about that a little bit, because obviously the offseason was, let's just say, a little different from what you normally experience in offseason. You've been with the team for 4 years now, so you're really ingrained in the community. Did you stay local? And A, how did you get through it? B, how did you keep yourself in shape and in fighting shape, for lack of a better term?
Yeah.
And what was that like for the offseason for you?
Well, once the season ended last year, they kind of gave us a 2-week pause or whatever, and they told us to kind of hold tight. And then things just kind of happened really rapidly, where they were like, all right, pack up, get out of here. And basically, if you're Canadian, go back across the border. So my wife and I, my son, we flew to Syracuse and then drove across the border. And we didn't see anybody besides just immediate family for 3 months. So, having a 2-year-old run around, you're still active and stuff, but just, there's no rinks, there's no gyms open. So, you still know what to do, but it was just tough not to have that schedule. And then as the summer got going, I got back into the regular routine, and, you're planning on the December start. So you're kind of turning things up. Then they put the pause on till February. And so we came back down to Bakersfield in October when the weather changed up north. So we just decided, we have our spot still. And if you're going to be outside or whatever, you want to be, do it in the weather down here. So my wife and I and all of us came back, and, I've just been kind of hanging out through Bakersfield here until we started, I guess. And then I kept texting everyone. I was like, you guys going to come down? season starting. Let's go here. I'd love some friends
Right.
to golf with. And so, yeah, they got like no one came in until really late. So it's been basically just Espo and I here for about 3 or 4 months.
Gotcha. But you guys are back in rotation, back in motion. Obviously, at the preseason games. Holty, I do want to talk about some things that just changed literally within. We didn't talk that long ago, maybe a week ago.
No.
You and I had this thing. Stockton, obviously, a big change. They're now going to be a Canadian team for a season, and that had to rearrange the whole schedule. What was that like for the organization? And Stockton is always and Brad, I'll ask you too, because Stockton's always a really good knobber clobber. So you guys definitely have your feistiness together. What's it like maybe not having them in the rotation this year? And Ryan, what is the changes for the Condors this year?
Well, besides Holty, what do we go up to 99? Is that what you say?
Up to 99 is the term, yeah.
Besides that long trip up there, this season is just going to be a lot different. I mean, to be honest, the day trip down to play LA or Ontario, however you want to call it, it was pretty nice. Like usually for road trips, we go in the night before, but we traveled the day of, and just being in so close in distance, it wasn't a problem. But if we were going to do that with Stockton, it would be, a little different situation. So I think if you're going to take the positive out of it, not having to be on the bus for 4.5 hours and roll out and play a game, like you said, with that intensity is something, we'll take to our advantage. But, you got to feel for those guys in that organization. There's kind of just getting their life uprooted like that and heading back across the border and quarantining and stuff. Obviously they're our rivals, but at the same time, you feel for them in that situation. That's a kick in the teeth.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and on the ice, as Brad kind of touched on, off the ice, Stockton and Ontario, San Diego, Henderson, the new team in Palm Springs, San Jose, Tucson. These teams are, they're our rivals, but they're vital to our off ice success as well too, just from a business standpoint. So to not have, if there wasn't a Stockton and there wasn't back in the day, a Fresno and Ontario, San Diego, there wouldn't be a Condors, just from a logistical standpoint. So we hope they're back next year. That all plans are that they're going to be back in the short term. We've seen about 15 different copies of a schedule every day, I think, and it's kind of mind numbing, honestly. With times and dates and everything changing. And look, it'll probably change by the time we finish things up in mid-May, but. For now, we added a couple more games with the Henderson team, so the team that's playing out of Vegas this year at the Orleans. So 2 more trips to Vegas with a couple off days. If restrictions are if restrictions are up by May, we might get a little reward for getting through all this. But in the short
you always
term,
talk about the Orleans snack bar too.
Yeah, the alligator bar. Well, it's funny, and we'll have to have Adam Cracknell on this at one point, but. Cracknell is one of our veterans, similar to Brad, but this is his 15th season. And, day one, kind of introducing myself, he said, how long you been here with the organization? I said, it's my 10th season. And, that's a long time in minor league hockey for someone like, my position. And, Cracknell said, was I even in Vegas when you were here? And I said, no, you were long gone. I said, so he's been in Vegas for a while, and he started his career. But yeah, it'll be good to go back to New Orleans for a season or two. It's a place with a lot of memory. I mean, we played the midnight game there a couple of years ago. I mean, it's a fun place, and it's a different atmosphere. And you see it now with the Golden Knights, what kind of atmosphere you can get in a place like that. And that all started, with the Wranglers and with the Thunder back in the day.
Well, let's talk about, obviously, you're looking forward to that trip when things do ease out. But for now, let's talk about the upcoming weekend. You guys are starting on the road this year, right?
Yes.
I think I'm on revision number 4 of the schedule, so I'm not quite sure what you guys are doing this
weekend.
Well,
we're playing San Diego. We're at San Diego, but it's in Irvine.
Which is another beautiful facility. I think the ceilings are a little taller there, so I think you guys are going to have a little easier time. Let's talk about the games this weekend. You guys are playing San Diego at Irvine. But what's that looking like? What's the preparation looking like? And what are you looking forward to as you head into the season finally getting here?
Yeah, well, I mean, the preparation never stops. You know, it just seems like every time, you know, you go on the ice, there's something to work on here. This level, there's always more to get better at and to kind of dive into. But in terms of looking at San Diego, they got a ton of experience and a ton of skill. The GM or organization, however you want to say it, just for Anaheim and San Diego, they've done a really good job at drafting some really high skill players and, you know, kind of filtering through the system. So, you know, we're going to have our hands full up front with them. And then on the back end, they got some real mobile defensemen. So systematically, we're going to have to be, you know, really structured. And then, you know, you're talking about the rivalry with Stockton. I think since my 4 years have been here, I think that would be the one that I would kind of circle on the calendar as kind of been the most heated. You know, maybe I'm a little biased just because of the playoff loss we took to them a couple years ago. But if you're going to look to a rivalry and kind of, you know, one of those games on the calendars that you circle, it's, you know, I think it'd be them for me. So to get a crack at them this early in the season, it's, you know, obviously the adrenaline's going to be pumping to get out there and play a meaningful game. But when you play a team like that, I think it adds a little extra.
Ryan, what are your feels as you go into the weekend? What are on your end, since I know you're doing some of the broadcast prep work? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I just hope my voice doesn't go out, but I think we should be all right. But yeah, it's you know, it's just fun to be back. You know, that's the main thing, and you know, being around the team and around practice. It's just, you know, it was a long, you know, however long it was a long 10 months. You know, kind of sitting around in limbo and not really knowing what kind of the future held. So, you know, just for me, just to be able to, you know, call a game and to, you know, have the Condors back and to be able to go on a road trip. I mean, that's what we do, you know, and, you know, part of us was kind of taken away for the last, you know, better part of the year. So, you know, when you do that nonstop and, you know, Brad's been around, you know, multiple organizations, but when you do that nonstop for, you know, 9-10 years, you know, 9 seasons, and it's go, go, go. And then all of a sudden the brakes kind of get hit and you kind of do nothing for a long time. It's tough. So I'm just looking forward, you know, and, you know, Brad and I golfed a couple of weeks ago and kind of said, you know, I don't really even care about the score after a first period. If you ask me in an interview, like I'm just happy to play. And that's kind of the same feeling for us and for, you know, the staff that we were able to bring back and some staff that we're trying to bring back here soon. And trying to just get back to normal and back to what we do and what we love to do. So should be a fun weekend. We've got the AHL TV stream is free all weekend, so you can tune into that. Yes. And it's available basically on every streaming platform you can think of, all the smart TVs and everything like that. So you can tune in there, and then the rest of the way, it's only $34 for the entire season. So, you know, that's pretty good value for what it is. So we're looking forward to it, and hopefully a couple wins down in Irvine and come back for the home oper the following weekend.
Ulti,
Well, I signed up. Go ahead.
You said it was a long break. It was kind of like as long as your beard there at one point.
I did have it pretty good at one point, and then the wife got mad at me for a long stretch of time, and then we started coming back, and you know the beard started coming back. But yeah, it was. I was ready for the playoffs just in case. You know, they just said, "Hey, we're ready to go for playoffs." I was just raring to go.
Well, Ryan, you're the odd man out right now because Brad posted a really good beard there. I'm kind of proud of my beard too. So Ryan, you got to catch up with the rest. Ryan Holt, Brad Malone, so appreciate the time. I know, Brad, we just pulled you off the ice just a few minutes before broadcast here. So you're quite welcome. So appreciate the time. Ryan and I, and of course, more guests throughout the season are going to be doing these regularly on Facebook and YouTube Live. So make sure you keep following us and also follow the Condors on all their social media channels. Brad, once again, good luck to you this season. Excited to have you back. And once again, AHL.TV is free this weekend. You have zero excuse. Go root them on. Scream loud enough they can hear you in Irvine. I appreciate the time, guys. And next week, once again, we'll be connecting up right here with Energy 95.3.